Hi, everybody. It's Karen Anderson here with Aortic, and this is our weekend review. And as always, I'm going to ask you to click that like button and click the little bell so that you're notified whenever we go live, because we don't just go live for this. We go live for Q&As with medical professionals, and we go live for survivor stories, and we just might go live because we have a lot on our mind. You never know what you're going to find. So click that button and make sure to drop me a comment, say hi, give me your opinions and your thoughts, and then most importantly, please share. Please share the link from today so other people can learn a little bit more about aortic disease. You know, the world doesn't always revolve around certain social media platforms. So we want to get the word out and educate people and make them feel supported. That's what this is about. All right. Again, I'm going to preface, you never know what could potentially go wonky with my computer. There's still some issue with my router. So if I pop off of this at any point in time, it's because I have to pop back onto my phone. So I'm on the ready. I got it all ready to go. I think I'm mastering this technological gremlin that's happening here with my phone situation. So we are going to get started, and we're going to go right to Monday of last week. So let's see what it was all about. And it was our Movement for Movement Monday. So we haven't done this one in a little while, and I want to remind everybody that every year we kind of have a theme. And back in 2020, unbeknownst to us about COVID, we just started this theme of let's get everybody feeling comfortable moving. We hear this a lot in the community, that people are scared to go back to exercising. They're scared to take walks. Shoot, they're scared if they get a cold and they have to sneeze. So community members like to talk amongst themselves on what they think they can and can't do. And of course, the most important person to have these conversations with is going to be your physician, because your physician knows your anatomy, your body, your situation, your response to medications. They're going to give you exactly what you need as far as restrictions. But when they give these to you, we encourage you to move, whatever that means for you. Do what is in the parameters of what they've set up. So while doing nothing is still doing something, we do highly encourage you to get up and move your body. So whatever they've given you as a restriction, kind of do that within those restriction limits. But a lot of times we do ask ourselves, what can we do? Whether we are post-surgical or we're in a watch and wait category. So in order to help answer some of these questions, I'm not sure if all of you are aware that Dr. Siddharth Prakash from the University of Texas Health Science Center at Houston, he's actually working on a randomized clinical trial that's actually studying the mental and physical benefits of exercise for people who survived an aortic dissection. So that's the key. This is not for aneurysms or watch and wait. This is for those of you who have actually survived an aortic dissection. He's working on this right now. He is looking into this, and there's actually 3 locations where you can participate. I always thought it was just in Houston, but they actually have 3 locations that you would need to travel to in order to participate in this exercise study. So the exercise study, it is in partnership with the John Ritter Foundation for Aortic Health, and you should actually participate if you have a history of aortic dissection, if you're looking to become more physically active, if you want to engage in some type of exercise or regular physical activity in a safe and supportive way. This study is for you, and compensation is available for each in-person study visit that you participate in. So they are actually asking people to participate in this randomized clinical trial that, again, is studying the mental and physical benefits of exercise for people who survived an aortic dissection. So if you've had a type A and or type B dissection, which would be ascending or descending, at least 3 months ago. So do not respond to this if you're in those first 3 months post-op. If you're past 3 months, then you should consider signing up. But you have to be able to attend in person for an exercise training session. And they are looking for people that own or have regular access to a treadmill or an exercise bike. So that would be for when you leave their facility. They are looking for someone to have access to either of those pieces of equipment. So as far as your commitment, this is going to run for 12 months, and they are asking you to attend at least 2 in-person sessions and 1 training session, personalized session at the UT Professional Building, which is in Houston. And you're actually going to exercise in a group setting. and you're going to attend 3 virtual sessions as well. And all of this is mapped out for you on the link on this post. You can also go to our resources section. There is a link that says research. And if you click on that, that'll lead you to this study. And they are going to actually have you wear a 24-hour blood pressure monitor. So this is not a halter that's monitoring you from an EKG perspective. This is a blood pressure monitor. They're interesting because they can go off at any particular time. And when they do, you have to stay still and calm and let it take your blood pressure. So you're going to have to wear a 24-hour blood pressure monitor at the beginning and at the end of the study. They're actually going to also measure your heart rate and your grip strength. And they're going to ask you to complete an online questionnaire and exercise for, you're shooting for you to do about 150 minutes within a week. So you do the math and figure out how many that might be a day. If it's 5 days, it's like, what is that? That's like 30 minutes a day. I don't think that means at one time. It wouldn't mean that for me. I'm being honest. I'm just saying. So if you're looking to contact, you can scan that QR code that you saw up here, or you can send emails to the individuals listed below, and they are still accepting participants. If you're curious of what this has been like, I know there are community members who have participated. Just post the question on any of the sites that you see on Facebook. You can also shoot us an email and we'll try to get those answers for you. You can send us one at info@aortichope.org. And that would be your Movement Monday. I am very much looking forward to seeing the results of this study because, everybody asks, what can I do? And there is no one set of answers because we see people that end up back running triathlons, participating in a triathlon, running a marathon, working out with weights. And we see others that are told they can't lift more than 10 pounds. So to all be part of aortic disease, to have had dissections, or to be on watch and wait, just to hear the variety of restrictions and parameters that people are placed in, I think it's fascinating. And I think to participate in this study and help kind of narrow that down and be able to say, okay, here's what we're looking at and here's the reasons why, if you have this or you have this or not, I think that the outcome is going to be very telling. And I personally cannot wait for it. So with that.
Right on, hold on.
Right
Bo
on.
is here.
Hey, Bo.
Hey, Rao. We also want to say hello to Christina Caller, and Ryan just dropped into the chat.
Hey, Christina. Hey, Ryan. Talking all things exercise just a moment ago, as you know. And we were talking about Dr. Prakash's study at the University of Texas in Houston that's ongoing right now, that anyone can participate in if you meet the parameters of having had an aortic dissection and you're post-op 3 months or longer. Those are the people that they're looking to have participate at 2 in-person sessions and a few virtuals. And as long as you have a bike or a treadmill at home, they want to talk to you. That was Monday. That was Movement Monday. All right, we are moving on to Topic Tuesday. You can already tell what this is about given the picture. But it's interesting because there's a lack of memory that we often hear discussed within the community, and forgetting to take your medication is one of the repercussions of having this memory issue. I hear people talk about it all the time. I do it often enough myself. I'll look down and think, it's noon and I haven't taken my morning medications because I like to take them with food. And then if I don't take them downstairs with me, then I don't take them, and it's a whole mess. But everybody does it at some point or another within their lifetime of having this. But Tuesday's Topic Tuesday came from drugs.com, and it was an article titled 8 Creative Ways to Remember to Take Your Medication, which is so great because this comes off of the heels of having Dr. Kristen Watson doing a live event with us the week prior. So this is really interesting to talk about and look into really fun, creative ways that you can actually remember to take your medications. So we were looking for you to share your ideas below as well as reading these tools. But when you take your medication on a regular basis, so your body reaches what's called a steady state. I'd never even heard of that before, but that means the amount of drug that's actually going into your body or absorption is the same as the amount of drug going out, which is metabolism and excretion. So that's a steady state. It's a constant flow. And all medications have this thing called half-life, which I'm sure many of you have heard of before. And what a half-life is, that's the time that it takes for your body to eliminate half or 50% of the drug levels that's in your body. And it usually takes, they say, between 5 half-lives for a drug to reach its steady state that we just talked about, or to be almost completely eliminated from your body. Many of us think it's no problem when we miss a dose or two of a medication, but that's not necessarily always true. And some drugs have a longer half-life and some drugs have a shorter half-life. So, for example, if your medication has a half-life of 12 hours, like common blood pressure medications such as lisinopril, then your steady state blood levels of medication could dangerously decline if you just miss one day or two of that medication, which I had no idea. I knew the importance of maintaining clonidine because you can have a rebound effect, but I didn't even know this when it came to the prills. And I wonder if it's the same with all of the prills that Dr. Watson discussed, but your blood pressure can actually rise if you miss one or two of your doses of lisinopril, and it could have a lot of adverse effects on your heart health. So this is one reason why it's very important to take your medications regularly as prescribed by your doctor. So if you wanted to learn more about the medications that were discussed in the event with Kristen, that was actually last week, you can go to our resources page, which we're going to discuss because we present it also again later in the week. Her entire PowerPoint presentation is there, and we'll get to that in another day or two on this presentation. But here's some of the ways that you can remember to take your medication. So pill boxes. Pill boxes are really important, and I've been through many of them until I finally found a pill box that was given to me as a gift that is like the ultimate to me. It works really well. It's a big plastic container that has separate individual pill cases for every day of the week. They're different colors. It's really pretty. It's important to me. And it has an AM and a PM. So I fill it up every single Sunday. If I know I have to run out of the house, I just grab that day and leave. And then I've got it. If I'm going to head out for breakfast or I know I'm heading out, I'm going to have a later dinner, I'll just grab that. The problem for me is that I forget where I put the individual day. So now my pill case has Sunday, Tuesday, Friday, Saturday. I don't know where 2 of the days went. I always find them, but I still think that it's very easy to just grab and go. Some people take a lot of medications, and you need to have a much larger pill case that has multiple slots for AMs and PMs, and then others take just a little. And when we ship you our pill cases, they work just fine. So it's finding the right pill case that actually will work for you. Now, there's also electronic apps and pill reminder apps that you can put on your phone that will like hit an alarm. Like, who knew? I mean, but it's probably an app for everything in the world now. And that will remind you to take your medication also if you're really struggling with remembering to do that. Calendar alerts. So you don't need a fancy app. Just put it on your calendar and let it go off and say, oh, time to take your pill. Another thing that Dr. Watson discussed is if you're having difficulties, let's say taking pills 3 or 4 times a day, if it's really a challenge for you, talk to your doctor because they may be able to switch you to a medication that's only twice a day or once a day. So have that conversation. Don't be fearful of saying, you know, I really kind of hate taking medication 3 times a day. Go ahead and talk it out. Link taking meds with a daily activity. What I find easiest is I keep my medications next to my toothbrush. So as soon as I brush my teeth, I'm taking the medication. Of course, except for those once in a blue moon days that I forget. It's not that I forgot to brush my teeth. It's just because I wanted to wait till I had something to eat. Who knows what the reasoning is, but whatever it is, it happens. But link it to an activity. So if it's that you want to take your pills right after your shower, keep it on a shelf near the shower. If it's when you're blow drying your hair, keep it on the vanity where that item is. If you want to wait till you have coffee, keep it by the coffee machine. Whatever's going to work for you that jars you to remember it's time to take my medication. Also, keep an up-to-date list of your medications and your dosing in case there's any problems in your house, in your car. If you have a seatbelt cover from us, there is a card that goes on the inside that you can list your medications and dosing. If there's certain specific medications that a first responder should know about, you can put that on the back of a medical ID bracelet. Just keep these items handy. And again, ask your doctor or your pharmacist to make a recommendation to your doctor to help you with your medication regimen. Potato. Just ask them I think it's regimen. Ask them to help you. So for more detailed tips, check out the article that's attached to this blog. I think it's important, and I think it's difficult for everybody, especially if we're not used to taking medications. I will tell you, I'm going to be very honest, admitting this, Joshua, but I take my pills, and then you know what happens? I forget to take my magnesium. I forget to take my B12. I forget to take those things because they're really big and they take up all this room in the pill case. And then I look in the cabinet and I'm like, oh yeah, I should probably remember to take that magnesium or that B12. And then I say I should remember, and then I forget that I should remember. So this is really important article for me because I need probably a stronger tool to to remember to take everything that I have to take. I don't know how people that have a ton of medications do it either. It's a lot. It can be a
Mm-hmm.
lot.
All right.
So yeah.
Ryan had a point to make here in the last article.
Okay.
He says he's always baffled when people have no weight restriction. That makes him nervous, and he worries about uneducated providers. And I said,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a red flag for sure.
That would be a red flag. But we've heard one of the doctors that speak on here often has come out and said, I give my patients a 100-pound limit. And the reasoning is because he knows they're not going to do it. We're not talking working out. But let's think about it, Ryan. Let's think about women in their suitcases, even for an overnight. We're probably pushing 35, 40 pounds. Let's be real. Let's not women be honest. You know, you're going away for at least 2, 3 nights. That suitcase is probably going to be at least, you know, 35 to 40 pounds. It just is. And we know that we are pulling it out of the trunk and lifting it for, even if it's a split second to get it on the ground, but you're exhaling, you're not holding your breath. And that's the key. And that's the whole point, is that you might have a child that falls down that weighs a certain, and you're going to instinctively pick them up. Just don't hold your breath. And you're not doing it 100 times and doing sets and reps of this. It's a one-off situation. But for a doctor to say you absolutely have zero restriction, I would love to have that conversation with that doctor and just say, what made you come to that conclusion? Why is there no restriction? But that also baffles my mind as much as people who are given, you can't lift more than a milk carton. Now, right after surgery, I think I can understand that. But years down the road, why can't somebody lift anything that weighs more than a milk carton? Yeah. Be interesting to find someone who can explain it. I will look into that. I've made
Right.
a mental note.
And so
Yeah.
as we went into the today's topic Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
the repetitive cycle and nature of taking your pills on time, and Bo's like 11 a.m., 11 p.m., like clockwork.
Yeah.
Right.
That's so great, Bo. And there are people on my board that, and they know who they are. Their watch alarms go off. They don't care where they are. They're going to stop, find something to drink, and they're popping the pill. And there's somebody else on the board. I'm not going to say who it is, but their mother calls them like clockwork to say, did you take your medication? It's time to take your medication. And that's wonderful too. If you have a family member who wants to participate to that extent to kind of help you, that's great. And I watch them take it like clockwork. And then I start to feel bad about myself. Like, maybe should I be taking medication too right now? I haven't taken mine yet. I want to wait a little bit. And I probably just need to succumb and do it. Do it like clockwork. Because I did it after surgery. That's for sure. So
Right.
hats off to you, like clockwork. Yeah, I got to do that too.
I said, that's good discipline, Bo. Ryan then says, I have a similar case, but each day is divided into morning and night. I also bought 4 of them, so I do all of my pills for an entire month at once.
Oh, I kind of like that. You know what? You're onto something. And I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to do that. I like the idea of just doing it for the month and it's just done. That's great.
Right?
I think, yeah, that's a great idea because then it's one less thing I have to do every single week. It's one less reminder. It's done and I just need to take it. Great idea. Thanks
All
for
right.
sharing that one.
Melissa Yee dropped into the chat.
Hey, Melissa.
Right? And she says, or the pills don't fit in the case. And I said, hey, Melissa, how big are the pills you take? She said, I don't have
Some of
huge
them are
ones
big.
anymore. It was valsartan.
Oh, really? The valsartan was really big. So I'm on losartan, and it's the tiniest little chiclet in the world. It's the only pill that I'm willing to just pop in and swallow. Otherwise, a lot of TMI here. When I take pills, I'm literally stick my hand all the way in the back of my throat and put them as far back as I can, and then take the liquid. It was how I was taught as a child. And my sister's like, just put it on the tip of your tongue and swig back. I'm like, it'll just
Mm,
swim around my mouth and be disgusting. I can't do it. But magnesium pills are pretty big, and then they take up everything. And a lot of probiotics are pretty big as well. So yeah, not enough space. I kind of like,
caffeine.
and I don't know the company. I like the one that you can buy them already pre-packaged and they're already sealed. So you just rip the next one off, peel off the plastic, and it's right in this packet. You just rip it off and take it. Maybe it's just because it looks like a fun shtick, I think.
Mm.
So,
Christina says, put the supplements on the fridge. The prescription drugs go in the AM and PM pill box. Have 3 off-week boxes, so I don't have to sort every week.
I like that too. Yeah, I just reorganized my bathroom cabinet and I have everything that's strictly AM on the left, the two drugs they take AM and PM in the middle, and then the nighttime drugs are on the right. And I thought I was so fancy by doing it like that. I was really proud of myself. I'm all sorted out, dumped all the other medications that I don't take, and the stuff that I take on an as needed are all pushed to the back. So now it doesn't look like I own a pharmacy. It just looks like I just got them mapped out. But I'm kind of liking everybody's ideas. These are great. It's
Okay.
the little tricks. You just gotta kind of convince the mind. Thanks for sharing that one too. Smart.
So on
It
to
is.
the reminders here. Melissa says, I guess I'm not obsessive. I forget and everyone reminds me.
There you go.
She also packs her pills apparently a month at a time.
See, that's two. That's all I need. And it's now a pattern and a trend. I'm going to go try mine and I'll report back what it's been like to pack in a month ahead of time. So I'm off. As soon as we're done this, I'm going off to go to Walgreens and get a
Get
couple
a
extra pill
big pill
cases.
case. All right.
Yeah, I'm going to
So
get a whole month's worth.
last final thoughts here. Uh, Melissa says Valsartan was oval horse pill. I take all my pills at once. Your throat is real round, just swallow.
Look,
It
nope.
sounded like she was throwing together a haiku there for me.
She may have very well been. She may very well may have been. Yes. No, there's no throw it in the mouth and no. Yeah. All right. On that note, we are going to move on to Thursday. This was about preventing stress and burnout. So it was all about stress, burnout, and how important it is to practice self love and prevent it. And this was written again by Jess McBess. So I saw this actually on their caregivers page. So hats off to Ruru, aka Charlotte, or vice versa, for posting this on the page. And it just struck me and it just stuck with me. And we used it. And it's basically talking about your emotional battery. Like, where are you? Are you focused, which would mean you're having normal sleeping habits and you're having normal eating habits, you're feeling calm, you're feeling steady. And emotionally, that would mean that you're feeling creative, you're feeling positive, you're thriving, you're engaged, you're a little bit more consistent. Are you functioning? Which means physically you have little to no physical change, and emotionally you're feeling consistent and some enjoyment. There's kind of like up and down days. You're functioning. Are you feeling overworked? So physically, you have muscle tension, you've got some headaches, you're a little bit lower on energy, and emotionally, you might be feeling some anxiety, some panic, a decrease in joy, some nervousness, maybe a little tired. Are you feeling depleted? Depleted might lead you to physically feel fatigue, to feel aches and pains. There's some sleep issues happening. There might be an appetite change. And emotionally, lack of motivation, poor performance, sense of hopelessness. And then there's the all bottom burnout, where physically, when you're feeling burned out, you might be feeling having a lot more issues sleeping, having a lot more panic attacks, maybe just complete utter exhaustion. And then emotionally, if you're burned out, you might be feeling numb, empty, uh, feeling more lost, depressed, and an inability to cope. So this is pretty interesting how they did this at a battery, like where's your battery? And I think it's very normal to feel any of these at any given moment. I vacillate during a week. See, because when I have that window of opportunity where I wake up and all the stars have aligned and I'm feeling really good, what do? I push, push, push. What happens the next day? I'm depleted. I'm completely Anybody knows me, I become completely depleted because I just gave everything that I had on like one day. And what Jess reminds us is that there's three pillars to basically practice when you want to reduce stress and burnout. And she says, here's the definitions of those pillars. So, number one, self love. These are the things you want to remember if you're feeling stressed and burned out. So, stress love is basically having a regard for oneself, for your own well being and your happiness. And number two is remembering to have self care. And what does self care really mean? It's more than just going and getting a pedicure. That could be self care, though. It's more than just taking a spa bath. Self care means, sorry, I have something, it's a little hair in my eye. Self care is the actual practice of taking an active role in your own well being, in your own happiness. And in particular, doing this when you're having periods of stress or burnout, and the practice of taking action to preserve or improve your own health. That would be really the core of what self care is. And of course, mental health. And that would be a person's condition with regard to their psychological and emotional well being. So she also includes 9 ways to recover from burnout. So I'm getting a lot from this post. You know, it's so funny when you read people's posts, you can very easily read into it and say, "Who I'm wondering how this person's doing," to make them feel so passionate about this. Someone has to wonder, is there a feeling going around in the community of a lot of burnout? Because we do read the community a lot when we decide what we're going to post. And it could just be that there's a change of weather and people are feeling some seasonal allergies or the remnants of colds and flu season, and people are just feeling really burned out. But if you want to know tips on how to recover from burnout moving forward when you're exhausted, let's take a look at a couple of these. So, first, you want to grant yourself permission to be imperfect. It is perfectly okay to be imperfect because we're all imperfect. And it's not a negative, it's just part of being a human, right? If you feel you need help, seek professional help, seek out some therapy. It's as important as going to a cardiologist, it's as important as going to your primary care. Therapy fixes something that we can't see. We can't see emotions. We can't see what's going on deep inside our brain, but it might need to be fixed or have a little tune up, and that's okay. So seek out a therapist that you might feel comfortable with. Take some time to actively reflect on your actual efforts and achievements. No, there's no such thing as small. So we often say doing nothing is doing something. That's an achievement because you're doing what your body might actually need for the day. So if you had this big laundry list of things you wanted to accomplish that day, but you only accomplished one, don't negate the fact that you have a bunch of others to add to tomorrow's list. Celebrate the one. It's not that that's all you could do. It is something that you did. It's just changing the script that's in your own mind. Strengthen your active reflection and self compassion practices. We do not have enough compassion for our own selves, and we do it with the community, we do it with others. All of us are guilty of this, but when it comes to ourselves, I think we're our harshest critic. We uh, How often is it that you just say wonderful things about yourself versus, God, I'm having a really rough hair day, or I guess wrinkles. I look at myself and this clothes doesn't fit right. Why do we do that? It's not getting us anywhere. Why not just say something kind to yourself like you would say to another? You're supposed to be your number one priority and your own biggest advocate and cheerleader. So try practicing that a little bit when you're feeling burned out. Develop daily strategies to help prevent the burnout to begin with, whatever that might be for you. Again, it goes back to you set your own expectations. My husband will say this often to me: you're your own boss. Why did you schedule yourself the way that you did? No wonder you're exhausted. Don't do anything tomorrow. Schedule a nothing day. And he's right. Another member of our community, one of our board members, she actually highlights one whole week a month, and she is not allowed to make any medical appointments unless it's an emergency. She gives herself one whole week off where she just doesn't do anything medical. She just refuses. It's just her time to not have anything medical related. And that gives her an energetic boost and it reduces her stress. So, um, you know, develop your own strategy that's going to help you not be burned out, and create action items for systemic change. So for me, coming out of this, I'm going to create action items to definitely be better when it comes to taking the medicine on time. There is no try to take it, there is just take it on time. So whatever I need that's going to make sure that that's 100%, all the time, I'm going to do it. But I'm not going to beat myself up if I'm a couple hours late, because it just can happen. Recognize and replace negative self talk. We just talked about this. So instead of getting up and saying, you know, this looks terrible or I sounded terrible or whatever the case is, find the positive that other people find in you. Find it for yourself. It's going to feel a million times better. And consider taking time off to hit your reset button. And I will tell you, it's so important to do. And I do that often. I will just take a couple days. I don't turn on the phone until it's nighttime and I do the TikTok. But other than that, I need time to I just need to reset. I need to reset my closet often. I need to reset my car often. I need to reset my catch-all area in the kitchen often, and I need to reset my life sometimes often. I probably should be doing it more often, and that's okay. It's your life. Do it whenever you need to, however you need to, in whatever form you need to, but a reset feels so good. It's just like giving yourself permission to kind of start over, and it's like exfoliating bad habits, exfoliating clutter, exfoliating whatever it is, and just starting fresh. I mean, it makes me smile because it feels good to do it. And adopt an ownership mindset. You own this life of yours. You own yourself. So take care of it the best way that you need to. Jess talks about how this upcoming weekend, she wanted everybody to take time to rest, reset, and rejuvenate. She was taking some hot baths, some nature walks, visits with friends to ensure that she's resetting and preparing herself for the week ahead. And I think everybody should try that. Functioning and focused is always a good place on the battery scale to be, right? So curious to know what's your battery been running at? Is it running low? Is it running high? Do you need it to recharge or reset your battery? It gave me a lot of pause to think about, a lot of stuff to think about. I hit my pause button and went over this quite a few times. So I'm really appreciative of her finding this for us for Therapeutic Thursday. Curious to know anybody's thoughts about that.
It's a quiet chat. One of the most interesting things that I've heard when it comes to self-care is treat yourself like you would treat your best friend, right? And it's like you're always willing to go, the extra mile for your best friend. You're like, oh man, I don't want to let that guy down.
Right.
But like when it comes to you, you're like, oh, just whatever, tomorrow's fine. And it's
Yes.
so easy. It's so easy, right? Like
So easy.
the ways I take care of my clients, and then I never direct that energy back to myself.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's so weird.
It is weird and it's crazy. I mean, I'll just think about, this weekend I had been away and on a little vacation, celebrate my sister's birthday, did a ton of walking in Universal. Anybody who's been there knows you just walk. It doesn't matter if you have clouds for shoes, you're going to end up in pain. But I think to myself how much walking I did and how little I did before. And if I can do that in such a condensed period of time, why am I not doing it every single day? There's no excuse not to just get up and do it. And I would encourage anybody to get up and do something, even if it's for 15 minutes, just do it. And yet I'm not doing something that'd be so beneficial for myself. And so that's part of the reset. I need to reset and do something that's really going to make a difference for my own life. Only for the positive. As long as I'm not doing 20,000 steps in a day, I'm going to be happy with whatever I do because it won't hurt. That hurt. That was very painful. Anybody who's done it, you all know. I'm going to never do it again until there's grandbabies in my life one day. Right now, these adult feet, it's painful, but I want to do something. So you're right, Josh. A lot of times people they're there to really help others. When it comes to yourself, it's like the skills go out the window. Treat yourself as kindly, and we are our best friends. Very good point. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm going to move on. Feeling better for Feel Good Friday. So, Jess was looking for some positive quotes. We're always looking for positive quotes. And Molly does our quotes in the morning, and she's doing an amazing job at that, by the way. Hats off to her. But sometimes you just need to find that there's like a certain quote, and you can Google keywords, and that's really effective. And you just need to read something specific that's going to resonate with you. Well, Here's a few that really resonated on our Feel Good Friday. And the first one was whatever makes your soul happy, just do that. Just do it. Nothing holding you back. For some people, it's been quite a day. Some people, they can say it's been quite a week. For some, a month. And for some, it's just been a hell of a year, right? We all can relate to that on some degree. But if you think about all of the beauty still left around you, you'll be happy. And that's true too. I don't know, for me, when I had my dissection, one of the things I realized coming out of that, with all that time off of work before it set in, that I knew I was never going.
Oh, we might have lost Karen. And she's back.
I'm back. Hopefully, I won't lose you guys again. Sorry. But I had this time to actually sit back and notice clouds and take a look around me and really appreciate the world around me. And it just kind of made me happy. That's the story I was sharing before my computer acted ridiculous. If it happens again, I'll be hopping on my phone. But so you're here, you're breathing, you have friends, you have family that love you and support you, and you have a home and you have time to rest. And that's all that really matters in life. It's time to just be happy. Being angry, sad, overthinking, it isn't worth it anymore. Just let things flow. Just try to maintain a positive sense of being. A mind over matter, find joy in the pain, and always face towards the sun and be happy with what you had. Be excited about what you have. Take some time out of each day to just kind of take a minute to feel good and think about what makes your heart smile. That was our Feel Good Friday. Okay, are we good to move on? I'm coming in loud and clear.
Yes, you're great.
All right. Saturday, we had a really great Survivor series with Scott Napolitano. Now, what's wonderful about this is that he hits so many of the points that we try to come across in the community. He shared his story of surviving an aortic dissection not only once, but twice. And his story of perseverance, considering he was misdiagnosed the first time with an aortic dissection, it's incredible. And there's a lot of lessons really to be learned when you watch him tell his story and you listen to his story. He really is a definition of think aorta, think family. So, and I'm not going to give it all away, but check out his story. He is what we want everybody to do. Have those conversations with your family about your medical history. If this has happened to you, think about your parents, your grandparents. You don't really need to go into the aunts and uncles so much. I'm sure Ryan, if he was still here, would agree, but it's really your parents, your grandparents, your siblings, your children. Think about people prior to you and their medical history, and think about what you're going to do with your children or your siblings moving forward. So we always encourage people to kind of be the shining star in someone else's life by sharing your story of survival, or feel free to share a story where maybe the outcome wasn't necessarily as positive, because there's such a lesson to be learned in someone else's life. There's a lesson to be learned if someone did not necessarily survive. I also want to hear from caregivers. It's very empowering. It's very validating for others. You don't know the impact you're going to have when it comes to sharing your story. And we really want to know the symptoms that people experienced. We want to know how your diagnosis process went, because we may very well be sharing this with Think Aorta US, because their driving force is to educate the physicians to think about the aorta, to really try to give those timely medical diagnosis so that people can either be diagnosed as potentially being at risk, and then they'll be monitored, and they will avoid, hopefully, the very rare aortic dissection. So there's a link here. We encourage you to sign up. You can share your story, whether in written form or a pre-recorded video, or be daring and like me and go live and then interact with the community and take some questions. So I encourage you to sign up today for the Survivor Series and check out Scott's, and then like it, and then share it. Do all those things. All right, this is what I was talking about. Share with you Sunday. We went ahead and repeated some of the information that came from Dr. Kristen Watson regarding common medications that are prescribed to the community. So you can view her presentation using the link. You're going to learn everything about ACE inhibitors, beta blockers, calcium channel blockers, diuretics, and so much more, as well as drug interactions and potential side effects. Remember, this information is strictly used for informative purposes. Take it, ask questions of your doctor. You don't have to just stay on a drug if you're not feeling good, but your doctor doesn't know you don't feel well. So tell them what you're feeling, have that conversation, let them make that decision if there's an alternative that might work as effective for you, but not give you those side effects. So there's a lot of medications. And again, you can check that out in her presentation that was live on YouTube or through her PowerPoint presentation that's under our resources page. And that was our week in review. So what we've got coming up is our support group meeting. And that is happening tomorrow night on Wednesday, the last Wednesday of every month at 7 p.m. Eastern. Then right away, the first Tuesday of every month, we have a general session at noon Eastern time again, as well as the first Saturday of every month at 10 a.m. We have a caregivers only support group meeting. And then I think it's the third Saturday. I'm pretty sure it's third Saturday. We have a 4 p.m. session as well. And coming up in April, we do have a support group meeting for a bereavement as well. So all of that will be upcoming on our event section as I update it, because we have a lot of exciting things happening in April. And hey guys, the 20th, it's not the 20th. We've got coming up in 2 days. We've got the 30th. It is National Doctor Day. Start thinking about how you're going to give a shout out to your doctor, because we're going to have some contests. You'll be seeing them on our website as well as on our Facebook page. And I'd like to thank everybody who had a chance to join us today. I did not write down all of your names. So Josh, who joined us today?
Oh,
we had Bo.
We had Bo, we had Christina, we had Ryan, we had Melissa.
It's great. It's a great day. I love when you guys come out and give me a chance and chat. And don't forget, click like, click subscribe, share this so that other people can, I'm sure they're going to pull something out of this that's meaningful for them, and give others an opportunity to receive accurate information and feel supported today. Thank you so much. We will see you next Monday.
Hold on.
Yeah.
And the Hangouts every Thursday.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
Yeah.
People are hanging. Hey, what happened last week in the Hangout? I missed the last one. I know the first one we had like 17 people just hanging and chilling with each other.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's great. I know the question for this upcoming Hangout this week on Thursday is joke. Be ready to give us your joke, because we got April Fool's Day coming around the corner. So I think they're going to start off their Hangout with just telling a lot of jokes. So if you just want to hang out, place a face with the name of a community member that you've been chatting with or you've been following online, hang out with us. Hang out with us. So you need to sign up for our support groups, and then you're going to get the link to come hang out. So it's not like a support group meeting. Grab a sandwich, grab an iced tea, grab a cup of coffee, whatever you want to do, sit outside and hang out and have fun. Very relaxed, very casual. I'm hearing nothing but positive information, which is awesome. Hang out with Chef Rob. I encourage it. All right, are we about done now? Wrapped up?
Yes, ma'am. Let's go ahead and
put a
pin in it.
Next Monday, your host will be Tammy Warner, because I'm having some oral surgery, and she's very much looking forward to taking you through the week in review next Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard. I'll be back in 2 weeks. Thank you so much for joining. We'll see you soon. Bye.